Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and today we're back with another Teams video. We have here the new character in Honkai Star Rail, Cipher, and we're going to be talking about the best teams for them. I promise you, in this video, there will be a team just for you. Some people just like to do the whale teams and stuff like that, and the best meta teams. I'm going to give you options so that you guys, any one of you, can play too. Now, we always like to start off first with understanding what makes this character special, and just an overview of value before we dive into the teams. Now, 4 simple things. If you don't even remember anything from this video, just remember these 4 simple things that she does so that you can understand how a kit works. Number 1, kind of already hinted here with the nihility sign, she is a debuffer and specifically damage amplification. When enemies enter the field, very similar to the likes of Jiao Qiu in terms of the damage amplification they get, she also increases the damage that enemies take when they come on the field. Very, very amazing. I believe that it also ignores the effect hit rate, doesn't require very high effect hit rate, which makes it fantastic. If you're running nihility teams, you need that debuff, you want that additional damage. This is very, very strong for Cipher. So that's the first part, making her a universal damage buffer. Second thing, of course, she plays into a little bit of this true damage over here. So what it is basically when your teammates do some damage, she records that damage down. The nitty gritty, don't really worry too much about it first, but just know that in her kit, she offers true damage too, and also having a bit of follow-up attacks. It's not like massive. I put a star over here because I don't want you guys to think that it's something like Fei Xiao where the whole character's kit is follow-up attacks. It's really very similar to Kafka with just a little bit of follow-up in the kit. Not too much to make it go crazy, but that does mean that it's possible to play in follow-up teams if you're looking for the angle. And last but not least, Cipher, English word definition, I guess it kind of has something to do with record. So in a sense, that's an easy way to remember what she does. She records the damage that your teammates does, how much she does on the particular target that she has quote-unquote marked, records this damage, and when she does her ultimate, you unleash that damage to do some true damage. TLDR, that's the 4 things that make up a kit. If you catch no balls, don't worry, you pretty much need none of this to follow up the videos. I'm just giving you a very quick overview. What I want you to know, however, any of you who are a bit more gung-ho and you want to understand a little bit more in depth, what makes this character, in my opinion, for the long run, her value in the long term, is that this character is a hedge for high defense enemies. For example, if you are unable to weakness break enemies for some reason or they have massive chongus defenses, this character's damage amplification does help out a lot. True damage also does help out a lot to get past a lot of these massive defenses. So she's a hedge for stuff that Hoyoverse might throw at you. For example, you can no longer break enemies or like raw Bunga for some reason, as I put it over here. So now that we have a bit of an overview of her overall kit, I want to give you another overview in a different form this time. 9 teams of Honkai Star Rail. If we take a top-down approach at the teams available, if you are trying to build your roster, you generally want to have a good team in one of these categories. The team that Cipher fills in the most is going to be the fast and often a little bit here, but primarily she shines in the debuff category and to some extent the follow-up attacking units as well. Fuller team compositions is where she really shines. Unfortunately, right now, she plays around 2 main DPSs, but I'll try to give you some options as well for those of you who want to play beyond those styles. So the first team, of course, plays very nicely into the Nihility debuff team, and this is probably, in my opinion, the best in slot team, so I'm going to put it first. But I'm going to help you adjust accordingly, because some of you are rolling your eyes, Akirion, I skipped that banner, or I only have her at like S1, E1, whatever not. Is she still good with her and stuff like that? I'll answer all of this in this section as well. So first things first, Cipher is strong with Akirion because Akirion, without her E2, you need 2 Nihility characters. Right now, any of you E0 players, you can rejoice if you are a horizontal account player, which means you pull many different characters rather than doubling down on some. You have Jiao Qiu now, who best in slot, plus Akirion, plus now you have Cipher, so you have 2 fantastic characters that can be played with Akirion. And in my opinion, this double Nihility team together with Akirion, 5 stars of course, is best in slot. You can slap on pretty much most sustained characters that are still currently meta, whether you want to play Aventrine, whether you want to play, for example, like Lingsha, Huo. Some people argue here and there, but in my opinion, these three are pretty much the solid ones. The last slot is a bit more flexible, in my opinion, not the make it or break it section. It might help you get a bit like one turn faster and stuff, but nothing too crazy in the last slot. So don't worry about it too much. The question then becomes, because not everyone has Stealth Chill, right? Some of you might not. Firstly, if you have E2, then probably you can increase damage even further. So let's talk a bit about whale first, because I want this video to be for everyone. If you're a bit of a whale, go for some sort of harmony here, like Runmei, because you just need one damage amplification. There's no point putting another nihility here because you don't need the double. If you have E2, Runmei works fine. If you're not a whale, which is a lot of you guys, I guess, out there, in that case, if you do not have Stealth Chill, some other good options will be the likes of Fuke. Is also a pretty solid one. If you have her, she is still a 5-star nihility. Otherwise, you can play a 4-star Pella, which likely, if you have been playing a little bit of time, most of us will have this character. She's also a solid debuffer. And if you do not have any of these, you can just slap in like Gui Naifen, who's also a 4-star. If you really need another nihility, you can put in like Sampo, Luca, if you really just need to fill that gap and you don't have any other character. Otherwise, I think Pella is really solid here if you're playing with Cipher. One quick tip or one quick point that I want to make, in my opinion, Cipher is like a 5-star Pella. She does damage amplification, a lot of her overall kit, pretty much, she does some damage as well, which is very similar to like Pella, so upgraded form of Pella in my opinion. So I talked about many different forms of Akirion teams. Now I want to like jump to the next one, which is really debuff oriented teams. So because Akirion is maybe not going to be the only character that plays around debuffs, but in the future, if you have any other character who is going to be fitting in the debuff slot, you can use Akirion as a proxy for anyone who likes debuff. So whether it's Doctor Ratio, for example, you want to play with a Doctor Ratio here to hyper carry him or any other debuffer in future, I'll just flip him upside down to make it as a proxy for any of the future characters in future that comes out debuff, because I want this to be useful for a long term. You don't just pull characters for this current patch, you pull it for your account progress, and you don't want to forget that this character is actually compatible. So any character that scales off debuffs works very fine with Cipher as well, and she is basically like a 5-star Pella. You can fit her into most teams that you slap Pella in. The only question is, do you rather like slap in a Harmony, Tribi, or whatever not? Especially if you're considering those forms. So that is for debuff teams. That is probably the most useful one right now. The second team is your FUA teams, your follow-up attacking teams. Now again, we talked about it right at the start of the video. Cipher is not a massive follow-up attacker where she every turn can only follow up once, very similar to like of Kafka, her follow-up pew-pew shots. So it's not like some facial massive amounts of everything is follow-up attack, her basic attack, ultimate attack, whatever, everything is follow-up. Not that case, don't get misled in a sense. But why she's also still really strong with facial is because she's also very fast. You want to build her as quickly as you can as well. She scales up very nicely. She also has follow-up attacking in her kit. So pretty good overall in my opinion. And really strong buffing. So she might give up a lot of follow-up attacking, but she's really fast, so she can lap her turn, she can follow up more often. At the same time, she contributes a lot to not only damage, but also damage amplification for your team. For the rest of this, it's pretty much the same straightforward follow-up attacking team compositions. For example, you have your Robin, which is best in slot. You can run any other support characters that can buff pretty much utility sections. If you're looking to form better facial teams, I would highly recommend you check out the facial teams video where we go more in depth on the combinations depending on your account. So this is just going to be like a template team that you can consider. Apart from this, I think some people also might be considering any other team that is attacking very often. For example, even slapping in a The Herta here, maybe with another character, for example, like another erudition character in this slot, like a Nexa. It is possible, but you are trading your Cipher here for a very strong Harmony character, like maybe Robin in this slot, maybe for example, Tribi in this slot and stuff. So you are really fighting if you're planning to play her outside of FUA teams, outside of nihility teams like the Herta and stuff like that for her fast and often. So that's just some things to think about and why I don't think maybe she's as optimal outside of these two things, but it's still possible. It's one of the team compositions. That's why I put it kind of like third in this section here for those of you who are trying to brainstorm out. The main problem that nihility has is you compete in the slot for most Harmony characters. Unless you play both Harmony and nihility, you will find it that most of the time, Lethality tends to lose unless in special circumstances, which is quite rare. Now, last but not least, something for everyone. Cost-effective team. This is for those of you who are a little bit newer or you want a challenge and not play with any limited characters other than Cipher. Maybe she's your main waifu, your new account, whatever not. This is a very, very strong team if you're trying to build for her. My recommendation, and I put Pella over here again, she's very similar to how you play Pella. You can build her a little bit more damage oriented, especially if you're just starting out into the game, any of you newer players. Go for a DPS that is AoE. For example, Serval, Herta. This will give you a bit more ability to scale slightly into the future so you can tackle your pure fiction game modes. One of the game modes which require a bit more AoE units. So if you're a new player, build one of these two characters, and your next slot, your pivot slot here, is really any character in the future where you can take out, put into another team. My personal opinion, cost effectiveness, best value will probably be the MC, regardless of whether you're going Harmony, regardless of whether you're going Remembrance. I personally prefer a bit more Harmony rather than Remembrance with a team together with Cipher. But at the end of the day, when you invest the levels, you can just switch the character over and you save a lot of your resources, especially if you're a newer player as well. And otherwise, you can just go with Esther. Esther is like pretty general. She's going to last for quite a while until you get a lot of 5-star Harmony characters. For the utility slot, don't worry too much about it. Just go with Lynx, Natasha, which is totally for free. These two are solid. Otherwise, if you have Gallagher, you manage to pull him somehow, go with Gallagher. These characters can scale a little bit more rather than the other characters like maybe March 7th, defense and preservation and fire MC of the sorts. Anyways, guys, if you appreciate such content, straight to the point as I try to be all the time, thank you guys again so much for watching, and shout out to the channel members for supporting us on the channel, and you guys for watching till this point too. Thank you so much for watching, and check out these two other videos which I think you might like as well. See you guys in the next one.